Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One over advocacy, you're not here to find yourself. You're here to meet yourselves and set your soul on fire. And the author of the book, Soul Blazing, other than Miss Lisa-Ava Haisha. Welcome, Miss Lisa on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Hi, Daniel. Of course. Thank you for having me on here. I listen to your podcast and I really enjoy it, first of all.
Thank you.
You have great style.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am a person who took a different path in life. I've traveled to over 60 countries and I started interviewing people. I've interviewed hundreds of people, from creatives to world leaders to orphans in Iraq. So listening to the children in war zones led me to 15 other countries over 5 years and created a book called Whispers from Children's Hearts, where I documented what I learned, putting their quotes in the book. And those experiences, they've helped me to understand the human psyche and help me develop what soul blazing is. So I guess the imposters grew from those conversations, watching survival voices form and how people can come back to themselves.
And thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Lisa. Thank you. So the title promise is soul blazing and transform your imposter. So just a move from fighting to alchemy. What is the critical first mental shift a person must make to stop seeing the imposter feelings are as a flu to eradicate and start seeing them as a signal or a raw material for power?
I believe you first have to have such severe pain where you go, I can't live this life any longer. Most of my clients come to me saying, I just lost everything, or I can't find love, or another relationship broke, or something, that they didn't get closure with their parents. They stayed in arguments. They've been living in the past and wasting their moments, their now moments. And once you realize, wait a minute, that's not me, because they realize it later. After something happens, they're going, that wasn't even me, or I just said that, or I acted that way because of some reason, and usually from their past and insecurity or a hurt. So once they get to that point, they could start to open their mind to a shift and think about who's really driving, who's on the stage of my brain making decisions for me, because that wasn't me. My authentic soul feels differently. And
Mhm.
that's when we could work.
Certainly. The imposter's hidden message, Miss Lisa. If our imposter is not a truth teller but a misguided protector, what core human need is it usually trying to protect us from, and how do we address that need directly?
Well, it tries to protect us from ourselves and from the world. Basically, everyone's an enemy. Don't trust people. I mean, I was brought up that way, and I think a lot of people are, to be cautious of other people. And once you could let that down and think, oh, wait, maybe everyone's my friend, not in a silly way where you don't make the right decisions and you just trust everyone. But when you use your intuition and you go into something authentically, then you can go, okay, that's my authentic voice. How do I feel? Let me share it. Let me be vulnerable. The moment you stop being vulnerable and put on masks is when things don't work out. For example, I moved to Hollywood to become an actor, and so I put on that mask, that I'm confident and I've got my shit together and everything's great. And once you put on too much armor, people start to see it and they don't see the raw vulnerability. So once I said, wait, this isn't working, let me just go in there and go, this is me, and tell the truth and be real, I started getting a lot of work. And then I put on a mask to go to Iraq. I'm fearless. I could do anything. I'm going to go there and interview Saddam Hussein during war. And that was because my father was born in Iraq. And I wanted to understand, our roots before it was demolished. But I'm going and I could do this. And if not me, who? So I put on
Yes.
that mask and I went there and did that. So they could be our allies or they could ruin our life. So it's up to you how you use them.
hmm So, Miss Lisa, beyond the management, most frameworks teach us to manage imposter syndrome. How is it transforming it into a superpower, a fundamentally different goal, and what it becomes possible when we succeed?
Well, it becomes a superpower when you put the reins on it. I equate it
Mhm,
to a pit bull. If you train a pit bull from when it's born to be kind and nice and to obey you, it's one way. If you don't, they either bite you or they bite strangers. So it
mhm,
has to be trained. So once you understand who your imposters are, and I have an imposter quiz on my website at lisahaisha.com. So once you understand who your imposter is, then you could go, oh, when does it come out? And oh, that's from my mom. My mom told me this, and I believe I'm, whatever it is. My dad said this, a teacher said that, a friend or partner said that. Then you start going, this is who I am. So when you start reacting from that space, you could catch it and go, oh, dad, that's you, or mom, that's you. And then that's when you could start organizing and understanding your false voices that aren't coming from you. So once you do that, for example, I went on an audition, one of my first auditions in LA, and I went in there as a victim because it was one of my first auditions. They're like, oh, this is your headshot. I'm like, yep. And then they're like, oh, have you acted before? No, this is my first
mhm.
commercial. This is this. I
Uh-huh.
hope I get the job. I really like this. And you go and
Uh-huh.
I did the audition and then I didn't do a good job. And I went home and went, oh my God. So you fight with yourself. And my overthinker was talking to my narcissist and it was complaining with the victim without having that vocabulary. And I went back at the end of the day and did it again, changed my hair, my outfit in a different headshot. And I went in
Uh-huh.
as the narcissist. And when I went in there, like, I'm the greatest. So that's how you could use it. And oh, you look familiar. I look familiar because I was just there. I'm like, oh, you've probably seen me on other commercials or shows. Then by the time I got home, I had the part. They said, you were so
Nice.
good, yeah.
Mhm,
And that was just a switch of the brain of embodying an aspect of me that was real, but I was afraid to show because I thought, oh, if
mhm,
you're new, you have to be a beginner. No, everyone's at different levels. You start off on different levels.
mhm.
So,
Show you what you got.
yes, and don't
Oh,
hold back.
definitely. Go, go, go. You talk about imposters in the plural. What are the few of common archetypes that what is a unique superpower seed hidden within each?
Well, there's the victim imposter. And a victim is always everyone owes me because, I can't do it myself and this happened to me. So now I need to be rescued. But the
Mm-hmm.
other aspect of it is, I put a scale like from 1 to 10, 1 to 5 is like, your bad aspect, and 6 to 10 is where it's a superpower. So if you could flip that and say, wow, this happened to me and I learned from it. What did I learn? And really writing it down. The key is writing it down. Once it's on paper, you get it. When it stays in your head all mumbled, I call that like a ball of yarn. Pull out your yellow thread and your purple thread and your blue thread of all these different imposters that are making you crazy and overthinking. So once you could go, oh, I already learned that lesson. And now I believe I have the power to do this. You'll stop depending on others to rescue you and you could rescue yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This same with a narcissist. Why do you have to be a narcissist? If you're smart and you're great and you're awesome, that's wonderful. But once you start using it to use people, take advantage of people, then it's a bad thing. But if you use it to run a great company or to be a wonderful therapist, and because you have all this insight and you do have this little secret power of knowledge and brilliance, then you can use it in that way. And then it's a superpower. So you could use each of them that way.
Indeed, a superpower, people. So, how does one practically start a new constructive dialogue with the imposter, Ms. Lisa? Can you give us an example script of turning thought like, or they're going to find out you don't know enough into soul blazing truth?
I mean, if they don't know enough about soul blazing,
Yes.
well, if to find out who your imposter is and how to work it,
Mm-hmm.
you sit down with your, first of all, everything comes down to self-worth and loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, nobody else will love you. It's, you'll have dysfunctional relationships in every way. I would start by that. I have this book that I did as a follow-up book called a Me Journal, and in it it tracks, so you can track your actions. You think about, what do I want, what's one goal, and you write that down. Then what's been preventing you from getting it? I've had friends that, oh, I want to be a millionaire. They've been saying that, for 20 years. I have clients that come in, I just want to be a millionaire, or I just want to fall in love. So let's just go with be a millionaire. What's stopping you? Money is just energy. Anyone could have money. So why aren't you? Look at all the people who are having money, or billions of dollars, and now trillions of dollars. So you think, what's holding me back? And it's always something from childhood of, I'm not good enough, or I don't believe in myself fundamentally, or I need someone to rescue me, or something. There's a seductor imposter. I need to seduce someone to get what I want, which is what a lot of actors have done, a lot of my clients. Or the egotist gets in the way of, oh, they thought they could rule me just because they have money, or they have this, or they're my boss, but I'm going to let them know who I am. That's the ugly side of it. Know your place and show, don't tell. Be a giver, be consistent. So you would just do, in this journal, it just says a tracker. What do you want? What imposter is holding you back? Think about it. Take the quiz and then say, what's the opposite of this? What if I did this? And then if they did that, you'll see it all change. And I have also in the journal conversation, as if you're talking to a therapist, but you're talking to your authentic soul, talks to your imposter. Your authentic soul says, I want this. And your imposter says, no, that's not good for you. I'm protecting you from that. Because if you have fame, then you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hated on it, whatever it is, whatever the fear.
Mhm.
And then the authentic self will come in. Well, what if I do it this way? Or what deal do I have to make with you to be able to get what I want? Because they're saying, nope, I'm keeping you safe. If you get $1 million, you're going to be taken advantage of. You're going to be used. You're going to, it's going to ruin your life. Look at all the people who win the lottery and how their life is ruined. I'm not going to let that happen to you, because that's a subconscious wiring that you're not even aware of. So once you get in touch with that and going, oh, right, that person told me that, then you name the imposter, that person's name, or you could come up with something else. I usually name it the person who gave me the thought that has stayed with me, the unconscious thought. And I go, oh, that's you. Hi, nice to see you. I'm going to choose to do something else. I let my authentic soul come in and take the lead. And it has helped me tremendously. And I was doing this before I had the vocabulary. And I learned this just by, again, all the interviews I've done, hundreds of interviews with all types of people from all over the world. And I learned to spot people. Oh, that's a seductor. Oh, they're a victim. They're an overthinker. They're a judge. They're, whatever the imposter is. And I came up with 7 for the book, but there's so many more. So you can name your other ones. These were just the 7 that came up the most when I was doing a survey in 2 years, working with people. And I'm going, okay, these are the strongest ones that I've seen in my office. But I have in the book also, there's many more that you could add to it. But it's just understanding. Then it becomes your superpower, because you could use it when you need it, but you're not going to allow it to harm you like a pit bull.
Certainly. So, Miss Lisa, authenticity requires energy. What are the non negotiable soul fuels or daily practices that keep a person connected with the authentic core and prevent the imposter narratives from regaining control?
You have to know who you are and you have to love yourself. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to know how to be authentic, even if you want to be, because you are influenced by those around you. Once you step into that power, Arnold Schwarzenegger said something really great that stuck with me for 20 years. He said when he was just starting out, he put a box, an imaginary box in front of him, and he was just Arnold. And then when he stepped in that box, he became Arnold Schwarzenegger, the
Surrender.
great,
Yes.
actor. And he said that's when he became authentic because that's who he authentically was. He wasn't this like, oh, I'm scared. I'm in America. I have a bad accent. I'm too big. I'll never be the number one box office draw, which was his goal. Because everyone was telling him, you can't do that. Your accent, you're too big. You're foreign. You're da 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 da. So he's just stepped into that and said, this is who I authentically am. I know I could do something. It just has to be the right role. So once you get clear, again, this journal or any journal, write it down. What do you want? Most people don't know even their why. And you can't be authentic if you don't even know who you are and why you want that and what gift you have. And then to give it to the world, you have to understand what your gift is. Once you feel your gift, there's no stopping you. I was doing this like 10 years before I made it big, I guess, when I started getting asked to speak at conferences everywhere and having a large practice, but I was keeping it to myself because I still wasn't sure about it. I was just doing it. And then I thought, oh, let me get this on paper because I thought, what's the gift I have? I go, oh, it's talking to people, talking to strangers, meeting people. I love traveling. I love talking to everyone from Saddam Hussein to orphans, top creators to the average person who wants to lead a simple life and just have a easier job, and from athletes, and I mean everyone, you name it, I've been there. And I've
Mm.
also done a lot of silent retreats and worked with Sufis in Cappadocia, stayed with Bedouins in the mountains of Petra, worked with ayahuasca in Cusco with Ram Dass's teacher. So I really worked on the inside and the outside. And I just learned that you got to know your why. You have to know who you are, what your gift is, and how to give it away. Once I realized, God, I'm helping all these people. They're going, God, Lisa, you really helped me. I'm going, that's my gift of traveling for 3 decades constantly, 4 months out of the year, and living in different countries. You just learn about the human psyche. I do have a master's in psychology, but I think most of my understanding came from, meeting people, life experience.
Likes experience, definitely. So, Miss Lisa, what are your short term and long term goals as an author?
What's what?
What are your short term and long term goals as an author?
Well, I have my next book coming out called Under a Baghdad Roof. It's coming out in not August, April. We moved it up. So it's coming out in April. And that's about my adventure going to Iraq to interview Saddam Hussein and getting transformed through the orphanages and shifted my career and my life. And I also have another book coming out after that the following year called Unmade Beds. And it's about 12 countries I went to that really transformed me. And so those are my next books. But I'm speaking everywhere. I have a storytelling class online, which is really great because a lot of people come to me and ask, oh, I want to write a book, or I want to know how to speak better or tell my story. So it's kind of workshopy online, and that's ongoing. So that's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, Miss Lisa, and good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I would say get to know your imposters, um,
Yes.
meet your authentic soul, and become self-aware, because if we align our conscious mind with our subconscious mind, there's no stopping you, because once you're aware of what holds you back, you'll never do it. If you don't, if you're not aware. I would not have traveled as much as I did if I thought, oh, what if I get kidnapped in Iraq? What if I get killed? What if I go here to the Bedouins and Petra? Oh my God, they're Muslims and we're taught to fear Muslims. They were fantastic. I went to Wadi Rum. Everyone took me in. And so we have this fear against the other. So once you get over that and you understand where your imposters live and why they're there, so I would say become aware of your imposters and you're limitless, really.
Mm. Yes, definitely. And thank you for that advice, Miss Lisa. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Mm.
The I love Herman Hesse, Narcissus and Goldman, because that is such a beautiful way of sharing about how human behavior and the psyche works. It's really soul blazing through storytelling and conversation, and it's so beautiful. Um, the last book I read, it's right here. I was just doing something on it. Is Elizabeth Gilbert's book, All the Way to the River, and that is about friendship and what it means to be there for someone through better or for worse and everything in between. And I love the oldie Simone de Beauvoir, Letters to Sartre, because it's all about communication and connection and being so truthful and being authentic regardless of the consequences, really sharing your soul. So I could go on and on. I love Ani Smith. She's,
Good
and I do. I
luck.
have my favorite authors up here lined up, and I have their books right here because they say the 5 people you hang out with the most is who you become. So I said, who do I want to become? A little aspect of, like your question. So I keep them there and I look at them and I have their energy and I have their books right next to me so I can, become that. So,
Definitely. Tell me your friends, and I will tell you who you are. Thank you for that
yes, you get it.
recommended
Yes.
books, Miss Lisa. So, is the goal to never feel imposter feelings again, or to become so adept at the alchemy that become a quick, almost automatic sign to reconnect with your power?
Well, every day you have a choice whether to react or respond to life. So you have to train yourself. This person just said this to me. How do I want to respond instead of react? And when you practice this and get in touch again with your truth, your authentic soul, your authentic power, nothing else could come in. It won't trigger you. You'll get that life is just a game and we're all just actors in it. So you get to be the writer and director of you, or you could be an extra or a day player in someone else's life. So I can't stress enough about getting to know your true voice, your soul. Why did your soul come here to incarnate and create the body, go into the body that you have? And why are you doing the things that you did? Why did you choose your parents? All that kind of stuff. Once you get to know you, then everything else just falls into place.
Certainly. And
Yeah.
before we wrap up our discussion for today, Miss Lisa, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course, my book 101 review in sixth season as well, geography 101 third season, and my food 101 in sixth season too, geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101, fourth season, and of course, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Lisa, even the most authentic leaders face periods of doubt or despair. What does the soul blazing framework offer from navigating a true dark night where purpose feels lost?
Well, when awareness replaces autopilot, The moment when you know the name of who's been driving you, you step back into choice, and that's where soul blazing begins. So again, just writing it down, either buy this journal of mine or get your own journal, even a blank journal, and write your name and your imposter's name. Find out who it is, and just do the work. Talk to that aspect of you who's been making your life, crash and burn constantly, because that's no fun. So that's what you do. You get to know yourself. You get to love yourself. A 5-minute morning is fantastic. I wake up, I journal, I do 3 gratitudes. I walk barefoot on the grass. I get sunlight. I stretch, even if it's for 2 minutes. You look in the mirror and you say, I love you. And, you say your name, I love you, Lisa. And you say, I'm ready to go. When you do those things, you're wiring yourself to love yourself and go out in the world as a stronger, more confident you.
Very well said, Miss Lisa. So can you please invite our listeners to support all your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, you could go to lisahaisha.com, lisahaisha.com, and you could go to the imposter quiz link, or you could sign up for the storytelling classes. They're ongoing online. I have monthly salons here in LA where I do like a TED talk and meet and greet and social, and I do private coaching and retreats. I'm doing Bali in September.
Wow. Good luck for that, Miss Lisa. Yes, people support Miss Lisa Haisha, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy like this to rise. So I have one more question, Miss Lisa. For someone feeling completely disconnected from their power and mired in imposter feelings, what is the one small actionable step they can take today to fan a single ember of their soul blaze?
Well, I think I've said it in this interview already. It's if someone's just in a state, I would say, who's talking? Who is that? Who gave me that thought? And you'll always know. And I would say, write in the journal your name, the authentic soul, and your imposter. Authentic soul, imposter. That's imposter is saying, you can't do it. Who do you think you are that you can do it? Your authentic soul, I can do it. What deal do I have to make with you to help me? Then the imposter will answer, and you just listen. You be silent. Don't ask others for help. I mean, a life coach is great. Come see me, but you have to do it yourself. Doing it yourself first and understanding who you are is even better, because you're empowering yourself.
Definitely. So people, let's support Miss Lisa. And thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Monica, people, see you soon.